Yo, when you really think about it, every One Piece character is Luffy. Alright, maybe not exactly. But the way the story revolves around Luffy, we constantly get characters that mirror him in one way or another. You know, like Roger and his dream, or Kaido and being Joy Boy, or Big Mom and being fat as shit. But out of all those characters, there are certain ones that have a much bigger effect on Luffy's life. Characters that not only push Luffy to be stronger and chase his goals, but in some cases, characters that are obstacles to that exact goal. You know, characters that would consider Luffy a rival. And before we even get into it, I want to make it clear this video is not about people that rival Luffy strength-wise, because most of these characters just don't. I'm really only talking about characters that rival Luffy morally or rival his goals. Just anyone that pushes Luffy to be stronger and has a somewhat competitive relationship with him. So today I've decided to take the characters that I consider to be Luffy's top rivals, and we're gonna rank them all. I mean, all the rivals I could think of. If you could think of any more, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, man, let's get into it. All right, here's our list. Honestly, not that many. This probably won't take us very long, but I don't know. For some of these, I might have a lot to say. Y'all know how I get. Starting off with Smoker. I really don't have much to say about this one. Smoker's whole thing was that he was gonna be Luffy's Garp, right? He was gonna be the Marine that chased Luffy around and tried to stop him, but they still have an understanding that they're both good guys and they both mean well, right? But then another character came along and just took that whole shit from him. So now I'm like, what is Smoker's purpose and what is his relationship even to Luffy? What is the significance of their relationship, you know? But in general, I kind of don't get Smoker's character motivations for chasing Luffy in the first place. Like, because he got away from you in Logtown? Well, maybe it's because he reminds him of Roger. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Regardless, Smoker, you're a C tier. Sorry.
I've been looking for you, Straw Hat. I thought you'd be here. Seems I was correct. But you quit it!
Law was one of the main reasons why I said it's not really about how they can test Luffy strength-wise, even though that does play a part, but I care a lot about how they reflect Luffy's morals and shit, and just how good of a foil they are for Luffy, you know? And when it comes to that, Law is interesting. He's one of the only people on this list that's a member of the D clan. It's just him and Blackbeard. But other than that, I don't really get a lot of rival energy from Law. The only time I ever really felt like Law and Luffy were rivals was like at the beginning of Roof Piece, and even then it kind of felt like Kid was more of a rival than Law was, you know? Like Kid and Luffy got their thing going on, and then they end up dragging Law into it. I think Law's another C tier, and I love Law. He's one of my favorite One Piece characters, but he just doesn't have that competitive spirit, you know? But if there is one character that has that competitive spirit, it's Rob Lucci. I respect Rob Lucci, but this nigga will never give it up. You gotta respect somebody that just keeps coming back. And it's not like Lucci comes back and he's bullshitting. He comes back and he's genuinely stronger. He's genuinely a threat. Enies Lobby is still my favorite arc in all of One Piece, so Lucci has a special place in my heart. And what I really love about Lucci is he was the first real challenge that Luffy had to face. And him being so bought into the world government and everything, Luffy beating him is a big moment. And to me, when Luffy really becomes a true pirate, like this little nigga not playing games no more, he actually doing some shit. And Lucci was a good representation of the world government and the exact thing that Luffy's fighting against. I might have to put that in S. Lucci might be an S tier rival, even though Oda did put that nigga down on Zoro level. But you know, as a character, I think he's still a good foil for Luffy, so, you know, S. Next, we got Zoro. And I can already see some niggas getting mad at me for even putting Zoro here. But Zoro does push Luffy a lot. Like the time in Fishman Island, when Zoro sees Luffy knock out all those people with his Conqueror's Haki, he's like, if he couldn't do at least that, maybe I would have had to be the captain. It's not like Zoro's an antagonistic force to Luffy, but he's just a constant reminder that Luffy has to keep growing and getting better, because Zoro's gonna keep growing and getting better. I don't know if Luffy could ever be as dedicated to getting stronger as Zoro does. That nigga be fucking tripping. Obviously, Zoro has more of a rivalry with Sanji than anything else, but I still feel a lot of that energy with Luffy too, not as much as Lucci or anything. And obviously, Zoro is not stronger than Luffy. He never has been stronger than Luffy, and he never will be, despite what Zoro fans might try to tell you. And no, I'm not putting Sanji on this list. Stop it. That nigga will never be a Luffy rival. But as for Zoro, I think I'll put him in B, just as a rival. All right, Zoro fans, you know Zoro fans, you put Zoro anywhere under A, it don't matter what the tier list is. It could have been which One Piece character has the biggest balls. If you don't put Zoro at least in A, they finna ride. But as a rival, Zoro's a B. Next, we have Loki. Honestly, I'm probably gonna do Loki a lot based on potential, because I feel like Loki has the potential to be a really good Luffy rival, especially with all the Sun God stuff. As of right now, we haven't seen that much, but we've already seen a lot of the ways that Loki mirrors Luffy and Usopp, which I think is gonna be another thing that comes back and strengthens that rivalry even more. It really depends on what Loki's devil fruit is though, because if it's really like a Sun God fruit or something similar to it, that'll really make me go, oh yeah, this is the one. I mean, I don't know how much Loki is gonna be able to rival Luffy after what we seen in the most recent chapter, might have to put that nigga on ice.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
But still, with the mystery in Elbaf that I'm not gonna get into right now, there's still a lot of room for Loki to mirror Luffy, so I'm gonna at least put him in B, and if this arc goes the way that I'm thinking it's gonna go, he might get moved up to A or even S. Next, we have Shanks. Another one that's gonna be a little, to be honest, let me stop saying that. Everybody on this list is gonna be controversial to somebody, especially the crazy ass Luffy stands. As somebody that stands Luffy myself, y'all niggas be fucking tripping. The rubber riders or whatever y'all call yourselves, calm down, bro. Just let me compare these characters to Luffy real quick. I know y'all hate comparing anybody to Luffy the God King.
It's only
calm down.
Why you have to be mad?
Speaking of God King, we got the second biggest glazers in the fandom, Shanks fans. I would say Shanks is Luffy's first rival, even if Shanks doesn't think about it that way. I know Luffy always has. One of Luffy's main goals when he set out to be a pirate was to make a pirate crew that was better than Shanks. For that reason alone, I have to have Shanks on this list. And I've talked a little bit about how Shanks contrasts from Luffy, mainly because unlike Luffy, Shanks likes to think a lot about what he's gonna do. He's a lot more passive and pragmatic. I think it's more of a friendly rivalry, a lot like the one that Luffy has with Zoro, but Shanks is a little bit more in the air because he's also going after the One Piece, which automatically makes him a rival for Luffy. But how good of a rival? I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot built up there, going all the way back to when Luffy was a little kid and Shanks would make fun of him. Like, you will never be a pirate, little nigga. I like how Shanks is like the core motivation for Luffy to be a pirate, and he'll probably be there at the end when Luffy accomplishes his dream, if he's not dead. So, you know, I think I'll put Shanks in A. Low A, high B, but yeah. Next, Kobe. Oh my god, Kobe. I love Kobe and Luffy's relationship. The fact that they met all the way in episode 1 and now we're at a point where they're both going after the same thing is so good. It's so fucking good. And like I talked about earlier, Kobe is a way better Garp parallel, all the way down to the fact that he's been trained by Garp. That's just cool as hell in and of itself, because Garp did kind of train Luffy too, albeit for a short amount of time, but he trained a little nigga, and then he trained Kobe. So it's like we kind of got the same upbringing, same goal, and in a lot of ways the same morality. I think out of everybody on this list, Kobe is probably the most similar to Luffy morally. It's just, you know, Kobe is fucking with the system, Luffy's not fucking with the system. And I think in One Piece, that's one of the most interesting differences that there is. It's one of the major conflicts between Luffy and Garp, and the fact that that's being passed down to Kobe is also hella interesting to me, especially when I saw that panel of Kobe going, Luffy, I have to stop your dream. I cannot wait for when Kobe and Luffy meet again. That shit will make my fucking year. Yeah, Kobe's getting an easy S. I know I might be biased, I'm not denying that, but he's still getting an S though. Who gonna stop me? Now we got Eustace Kid. Now, I'm not nearly as much of a Kid hater as everybody else. I think it's fun to slander the nigga, but I still like Kid a decent amount. But as a rival, he's kind of basic. He's just like a Vegeta type, begrudgingly cool with the main character, but he really wants to beat that nigga's ass. It's cool though, it works. But I feel like the reason why Vegeta works so much better than Kid is that Vegeta has more of an intrinsic connection to Goku, you know? Their kids are friends, they're both from the same race, the same planet. Kid is really just a nigga that showed up talking shit. But I still do think Luffy and Kid's relationship is fun in this way that they both have this childish need to prove themselves, like the one scene where the fireball is coming to them and they're playing chicken with it, or when Law, Kid, and Luffy are all taking down those ships and it's like, let's see who could take down the ship first. You know, Law's a part of that, but it's really Luffy and Kid's show, and it's really their rivalry that pushes those moments. So, you know, I would still put Kid in like B. He's definitely better than Law. Oh man, Blackbeard. Do I even have to say it? From the moment Blackbeard and Luffy met, they were destined to be rivals. That shit was fate, literally. The meat and cherry pie thing always makes me laugh, and it just shows how different they are intrinsically, even though they have so many similarities. Like Blackbeard's whole thing about being free and wanting freedom, obviously that's just like Luffy, and the way that they both chase their dreams with no remorse. The only difference is, you know, Blackbeard is a fucking dickhead, but that's why I love him. Blackbeard is another one of my favorite One Piece characters ever, and the way that life just always finds a way to place Luffy and Blackbeard in opposition to each other, whether it be Luffy's relationship with Ace or his relationship with Kobe or Garp, Blackbeard's just always doing some shit to fuck with people Luffy cares about. And while that hasn't reached a head yet, we all know it's inevitable. Even the way that Blackbeard goes after the revolutionaries, like what the fuck is that about? He's not intending to do these things to antagonize Luffy, but it's just fate. These two are on a crash course to fight each other, and there's no way to stop it. That's what I love about their relationship, and why Blackbeard is clearly an S tier rival, probably Luffy's best rival. And last but definitely not least, we got Buggy the Clown. I know niggas don't take Buggy serious, and I'm gonna be honest, Buggy is also another one of my favorite characters in the series. But especially as of late, with Buggy's whole speech to Crocodile and Mihawk, all of that changed how I view Buggy's character. And it made me go back and be like, damn, when you really look at it, so much of Buggy's path has mirrored Luffy's. It's crazy that I didn't see it before. From when they first became pirate captains, they both became pirate captains kind of because of Shanks. For Luffy, it was more of an inspiration thing, and for Buggy, it was more of a spite thing. And I think that reflects the difference of their characters. Like, Luffy doesn't hold grudges. He thinks Buggy's a loser and doesn't deserve to be a yonko, and Buggy probably feels the same way about Luffy. But unlike Buggy, Luffy just moves on with his life. Buggy though, give that nigga a chance to get some revenge on Luffy. He will do it the first chance he gets. But also the fact that they both became Yonko at the same time. Buggy's the only character that you can say that for. Even Blackbeard, who I said is Luffy's biggest rival, even his path doesn't mirror Luffy's as much as Buggy's does. Even the people that Buggy has working under him, Crocodile and Mihawk. We already know Mihawk and his relationship with the Straw Hats, and then the whole thing of Zoro being Luffy's strongest crewmate and Buggy's strongest crewmate is Mihawk, two people that are also destined to fight. And then Crocodile. Obviously, Crocodile is Crocodile. It's a lot like Blackbeard, where like Buggy's not doing it on purpose, but he's damn near doing shit to antagonize Luffy all the time. And I think out of anybody on this list, Buggy is like the only person that can match Luffy in humor. Everybody else on this list, they're like Luffy, but they all serious and shit. Every time you see them, these niggas is aura farming, trying to look cool and shit. Buggy is the only one that, like Luffy, is a fucking goofball. He's an idiot. But because of that, him and Luffy bounce off of each other so well. I don't know if I could put Buggy in S, but I could put him in the top of A for sure. All right, and there we go. All of Luffy's rivals. Well, the people I consider to be Luffy's rival. And of course, Smoker's at the bottom, as he should be. You will always be the second place Garp parallel. But at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. Because no matter how many rivals Luffy has, he's still him. He's still the GOAT. And we all know who's gonna win in the end. But yeah, man, that's all I got for y'all boys today. Let me know which one of Luffy's rivals is your favorite. And let me know if there's anybody that I left off this list that you think could be a really good rival for Luffy. And comment pigeon if you made it to the end. Just confuse all the niggas that didn't make it here. Like the video if you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel. And yeah, man, I'm gone. Damn.